Hello everyone. Today we shall be starting with part 12th of chapter number 6 from science, that is life processes. Yes, and our topic is transportation and the human beings. Yes, in the last class we have already studied about what do you understand by the human circulatory system, that is it is also termed to be as the blood vascular system, and then on we understood that what are the various components which are involved in the circulatory system. That includes the blood vessels, heart, and the lymphatic system. In the last class we already dealt with blood. Yes, in detail we saw everything about blood, and in today's class we shall be understanding about the blood vessels. Yes, and in the coming classes we will be understanding about heart and the lymphatic system. Yes, today is nothing but the blood vessels. What are we going to study? That is blood vessels. When you talk about blood vessels, that is, vessels are nothing, they are the complex system of tubes. There are various tubes inside our body. These tubes are carrying the blood, yes, throughout the body. Some of the vessels have oxygen in it, some of the vessels have CO2 in it, and some of the vessels are small that they are supplying the blood to each and every cell. Now here, so that is, we are studying the blood vessels, and the vessels are of three types, that is arteries, veins, and capillaries. What are we studying? Arteries, veins and capillaries. We will start with the very first one, that is arteries. Talking about arteries, they are the vessels. They are such kind of vessels which carries the blood away from the heart to the various organs that we already saw in the rough sketch. That is arteries. They are nothing but the vessels which carry the blood from where? Away from the heart. Yes, away from the heart, where it is going to take the blood away from the heart. So away from the heart to various organs, suppose say to kidney, to the liver, fine, to the stomach, to the intestine, and everywhere. Do you understand this? So that is, what is arteries? Arteries are the vessels which carries the blood away from the heart to where? To various organs. Fine. Now talking about this arteries, the wall of the arteries. When we talk about this arteries, the wall of the arteries is thick, elastic walls. Have which kind of walls? It has thick and elastic walls. So over here is a question mark. Why so? That arteries have thick elastic walls. Arteries have thick elastic walls because it has to carry the blood which is under very high pressure. The blood in the arteries is with very high pressure, and therefore the walls have to be thick. Yes, because the heart has pumped the blood, and the pumped blood flows into these arteries, and the pumped blood is under very high pressure, and therefore the walls of the arteries have to be thick, or else they may collapse. So in order to what? In order to sustain the pressure, of the blood. Yes, therefore it has elastic thick walls. Fine. They are deeply placed under the skin. When we see our hand, we can see the veins, but we can feel the arteries. Do you understand this? As they are deeply placed, we can see of the veins, but we cannot see the arteries. We can just feel it. Yes, which are placed slightly deeper than the veins. Now blood, as I told, it is under high pressure when it is in the arteries. Now, no valves are present in the arteries. Valves as in, understand in a very simple language, as gates. So there are over here no gates present. Yes, so the blood is flowing under high pressure and there are no gates which are going to get closed. But yes, do you understand? It is a simple pipe with no valve, no valves present. Fine, no obstacles in between present. Therefore, the blood flow is quite smoother in the arteries. Fine. Now, all arteries except the pulmonary artery. Whensoever we hear the word pulmonary, it means what? Lungs. So there is an artery which, except the pulmonary artery, carry oxygenated blood. So all the arteries inside our body, yes, it carries which blood? Oxygenated blood. That is the blood which is full of oxygen. So remember this is a very important thing, that arteries always carry the blood which is full of oxygen. So it carries the oxygenated blood, but except the pulmonary artery. Except which artery? The pulmonary artery. So we will understand this when we are studying the walking of the heart, that is the pulmonary artery. For now, you have to understand that arteries carry oxygenated blood, yes, except the pulmonary artery. Fine. Now, talking about the next one, that is the veins. The veins carry the blood towards the heart. So something like this. The arteries is getting the blood towards the organs, and from the organs the blood is again taken back to the heart via the help of the veins. Fine. So this is bringing on the blood, this is taking on the blood, this is bringing the blood from the heart to the organ, this is taking the blood from the organ towards the heart. Very simple. Yes, so that is, it carries the blood towards the heart. They have thinner wall, this has thicker wall because it has to sustain a good pressure, yes, which is being given to the blood, which as by the pumping of the blood to the arteries. Fine. So the arteries has the blood which is under high pressure, and the blood which is being taken from the organs to the heart is not under high pressure, and therefore the walls of the veins are thinner. Fine. They are superficially placed, as I already told that the arteries are placed deeper inside our body. Similarly, the veins are easily visible. They are easily visible as they are superficial. Yes. Blood does not move under high pressure. Yes, it is not under high pressure. There are series of valves which are present in the veins, and this ensures there are various valves. Valves as in nothing but the gates. Fine. So there are various valves which are present in the veins. Why so? In order to ensure that the blood which is going towards the heart doesn't flow back to the organs, or else it can be a problem to the body. Yes, in order to have a proper circulation system, therefore in order to have unidirectional flow, in order to have one directional flow, in order to have unidirectional flow of the blood is always, the veins always have what? Valves. So what will happen? Once the blood from here has moved to this portion, the valves will close. Once the blood from here has moved this part, the valves will close. It has moved from here to here, the valve is closed. That is, the back flow of the blood is avoided. So the flow of the blood is kept unidirectional, only in one directional. So the backflow doesn't happen, and there is no problem which comes in the process of circulation. Fine. Yes. Now we will talk about something which is untouched till now, that is capillaries. Talking about the next one, capillaries. When we talk about the capillaries, now here something which was drawn on the very first page, that is, yes, over here, the one which is drawn in red, it is what? Yes, the arteries. The artery which is bringing the blood from the heart. From where? From the heart towards a given organ, say. And this is what? This is nothing but this is the vein, which is carrying away the blood towards the heart. This is carrying which blood? Yes, oxygenated blood. And this is carrying which blood? Deoxygenated blood, that is CO2. Fine. This is carrying oxygenated blood, and the veins always carry, this is something which has to be quoted over here, the veins always carry deoxygenated blood. Yes, that is the blood which is full of CO2. So this is carrying the blood with O2. This is carrying the blood with CO2. This is giving the blood from the heart to various organs, and this is taking the blood from various organs towards the heart. Fine. Now over here in between, in a given particular organ, you will find that the arteries, this is the rough diagram wherein the arteries divides, yes, the arteries keeps on dividing and it forms arterioles. It forms what? Arterioles. It forms various arterioles. So basically this is an arteriole. Fine. Do you understand this? Arteriole. Now there are many arterioles. This arteries divides into arterioles. This arterioles divides, and it divides so many times that it forms single cell, very thin thread-like structures, which is very single celled. Yes, so it ends into very minute thin thread-like vessels, and those are termed to be as capillaries. Now over here we can see that the artery is such a big vessel. Fine, it is not going to get inside a given organ and going to supply that is the blood to each and every cell. How can it do that? Therefore, this artery has to divide, and then on it divides so many times and forms single cell, nothing but that is the arteries divide into arterioles, and this arterioles divides many times and form capillaries. These capillaries are now then able to give the oxygenated blood, the blood which is full of oxygen, to each and every cell of the given organ. Fine. Now all the cells will get oxygen, and the cell is full of what then? The cell has received the oxygen, but the cells are full of CO2. So therefore, what happens? These capillaries which has provided oxygen to the cells are the ones which will collect the CO2 from individual cells, and they will join to form nothing but venules. It will form what? Venules. Now this venules is going to join nothing but the veins. Fine. Do you understand this? These venules are going to join nothing but the veins. So over here we can understand the function of the capillaries as that is, their walls are so thin, they are so very thin that they are able to diffuse gases such as oxygen and CO2 and other chemical substances very easily through their membrane, through their thin, very single cell membrane. and therefore they are able to provide oxygen to the cells and take away carbon dioxide from the cells to the veins back to the heart. Fine, do you understand this? So the arteries divides into arterioles. The arterioles divides and forms arteries. This arteries will reach the cells. The cells will get the oxygen. This capillaries will collect the CO2 and form the venules, and the venules will join the vein, and the deoxygenated blood is again back to the circulation. Fine. Now over here we can see that the capillaries walls are so thin. Yes, they are very thin walled vessels, and it forms a network of tiny blood vessels between the arteries and the veins. So between the arteries and between the veins there are tiny single cell vessels, and those vessels are nothing but the capillaries. Fine, do you understand this? Fine. Now they are only one cell thick. They are how much? They are only one cell thick, and they connect the arterioles and the venules. Fine, do you understand this? Fine. Now we shall be seeing the comparison between the three vessels, that is the arteries, the veins and the capillaries. Fine. So over here there are various things which are being compared in all the three, such as the cross section. Yes, cross section as in when we cut off the artery or the vein and look it inside the microscope, how does it looks? Fine. The direction of the flow, that is from where to where the arteries, veins and capillaries are flowing. The pressure inside them, that is the pressure of the blood inside the arteries. The oxygen content inside the blood of the arteries, veins and capillaries. The size of the lumen. Yes, that is lumen, that is the space over here. Can you see? These are the walls. And the space in between from where the blood is going to flow is nothing but termed to be as something like this. So this is nothing but the lumen. Fine. So if this is a tube, then the middle portion from where the blood is going to circulate is termed to be as the lumen. So this is the lumen. Over here also you can see it, and the presence or absence of the valves as in the gates, which will close the pipes as and when required, various sections of the pipes as and when they are required, the walls. Yes, so if we do the comparative analysis, wherein if you talk about the arteries, what is the direction of the flow? We already talked that the arteries flow away from the heart to where? To various organs. So something like this, it flows from the heart away from the heart to various organs. Suppose this is a given organ, say. Yes, this is a given organ, say. Fine. So arteries move from heart to the given organs. And talking about the pressure inside the arteries, the pressure of the blood inside the arteries is comparatively higher. Yes, why it is higher? Because the blood inside the arteries is being pumped from the heart, and therefore the pressure of the blood inside the arteries is quite higher. Then if we talk of the oxygen content, obviously arteries carry the oxygenated blood, therefore its oxygen content is high. Fine. Then if we talk of the size of the lumen, if we talk of the space from where the blood is going to flow, so comparatively it is relatively smaller in comparison to that of the veins. So it is comparatively smaller. If we talk of the valves, any of the gates present in the arteries? No. Yes, as you can see over here, there are no valves present in the arteries. The blood flow is very smooth. There are no obstacles which are present in the midway of these tubes, so that the movement of the blood can be obstructed anyway. Fine. So there are no gate like structure, no valves. Yes. Then talking about the walls, it has tough, elastic and muscular walls. Yes, it has tough walls, it has elastic walls. Why do it has tough walls? Because it has the blood which is under high pressure, and therefore the walls have to be tough and elastic, and they are quite muscular so that easy movement can be done. Yes, and the pressure could be sustained. Now if we talk of the veins, veins does what is the direction of the flow? That is the direction of the flow of the blood which is present in the veins. This is the lumen. Can you see the lumen? Yes. So back to the heart from various organs. That is, suppose if this is the vein, it is carrying the blood from the organs to the veins, and from the veins to the heart. Yes, so that is what is the function, or what is the direction of the flow of the blood in the veins? That is from the organs towards the heart. Suppose if you have any of the organ here, then from the organ to the venules, venules to the veins, and veins to back to the heart. Fine. Then how is the pressure? The pressure is low. The pressure of the blood inside the veins is comparatively lower. Yes, because it is not pumped by the blood, rather it has to be collected, and then it has to be put back into the heart. Fine. So over here the collection is done, and therefore the pressure is low. On the contrary, here the blood has been pumped and it has come over here, and therefore the pressure is high in the arteries and the pressure in the veins is low. Then the size of the lumen, as we have already seen, it is comparatively larger. Fine. And there are valves. Yes, there are valves present in it, as we have already seen. So over here, can you see the structures? Those are the valves. So what does the valves do? It ensures that the blood flows in only one direction, and the blood doesn't flow in the opposite direction anyways. Fine. So in order to have the blood flow only in one direction, that it is very easy, understand this, it is very easy to flow the blood from higher to lower level. But if you want to take something from the lower level to the upper level, it is quite tough, and therefore if the blood is flowing in such a direction, and if there are no valves, then there are chances of the blood to come back to the organ, and therefore in order to ensure the unidirectional flow of the blood, there are valves present midway. Fine. And if we talk of the walls, it is comparatively thinner and less muscular. If this is strong, then this is less muscular. Then this is tough and elastic, and this is thin. When we talk about the last thing, that is the capillaries. When we talk about the capillaries, can you see this? Suppose these are the cells, and these are very single cell thick vessels. Yes, its diameter is that of a single RBC. So they are very thin vessels. So they are supplying the blood to each and every cell. So if we talk about it, direction of flow, so it flows from where? It flows from, not from the heart to the organs, or not from the organs towards the heart, rather it supplies the blood completely into given organ. Fine. So that is the capillary supply it to, that is something like this. Can you see? Suppose if this is the artery is bringing the blood, and these are the arterioles. Yes, the arterioles are going to, suppose, say a given organ, and in that organ the arterioles are dividing and forming the capillaries. Can you see the section of the capillary? Fine. This is the section of the capillary. This is the section of an artery. This is the section of the vein. Now over here, if you see, wherein you can see that the walls over here, the walls of the arteries is thicker than that of the walls of the veins. Over here you have no valves, but over here, can you see the valves in the veins? Yes. So these are the valves in the veins. Here no valves in the arteries. Fine. Do you understand this? This has comparatively bigger lumen, and this has smaller lumen because it has elastic thick muscular walls. Fine. And this has thin walls, and therefore the area, the vacant space in the middle from where the blood is going to flow is comparatively bigger. Fine. Yes, and the veins are collecting the blood from the deoxygenated blood from the organ and getting collected into, these are termed to be as venules. Yes, and the venules, these are the arterioles. These are the venules, and the venules from various regions will come and join the vein, and the vein is going back towards the heart. Can you see the valve here? Yes. And can you see the lumen over here? It is comparatively smaller, and the lumen over here is comparatively bigger. Fine. Now, if we talk of the pressure inside the capillaries, it is medium. It is neither high neither low. Yes, talking about the oxygen content, if we talk of the oxygen content, what happens is the oxygen gets lost through their walls by the process of diffusion. Yes, the oxygen will diffuse and the CO2 will diffuse in. The oxygen will diffuse out and the CO2 will come inside the capillaries. Fine, because they are very thin walled. Now here, talking about the size of the lumen, small, it is very small, about the diameter of that of one red blood cell, so that is, it is very small. Now talking about wells, there are no need to have any kind of wells in it, so no wells. And if we talk about the wall, it is one cell thick. The wall is very thin, and therefore a single cell which we cannot visualize by our naked eye, and therefore it is that thin. Fine, so it is only one cell thick, and it is permeable as in it is so thread like that the oxygen which is present inside will diffuse into the organ, that is in the cells, and the CO2 which is present inside the cell will diffuse into the capillaries. Fine, so that is, it is permeable, and as it is permeable, it does the process of diffusion. It does the process of diffusion so that oxygen can get inside every cell and CO2 can diffuse out of every cell. Fine, do you understand this? This is how the cross section looks. Fine, these are the arteries. This is the artery coming to a given organ, wherein it is dividing so many times, forming capillaries, and the capillaries are again joining and forming what? Venules. Suppose this is a venule, this is a venule. The venules are joining and meeting the veins. Yes, and these are the venules, and the veins is going back towards the heart. So hopefully you will remember the comparison between the arteries, veins and capillaries. Until then, your homework will be this one. Thank you.